Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Pitch Talk.
We are fans of football dropping vlogs, videos and podcasts on the beautiful game.
Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram's IGTV,
including special feature segments,
5 minutes with the G,
the straight shooting view,
coaching with JBK. We produce, record and edit video content
and audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Verbal, Podomatic,
Anchor,
Spotify
and other podcast platforms.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook
and www.pitch-talk.com.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I can see you now. I can see you now and then. I can see you now.
Welcome to
Coaching with JBK. Welcome, it's yours truly, JBK, with another bumper roundup, which is brought to you by Pitch Talk, who are part of Verbal, Apple Podcast. We've also got ourselves on Anchor, along with Instagram, Twitter, and, Facebook or Meta, if you want to call it that. So go and check us out on all platforms and make sure that you hear what we're saying as much as what we're saying all the way through. Here's the bumper edition, and the bumper edition is this. We start with the FA Cup from last week all the way through to the Women's Championship from this week. Arsenal 4, so Friday the 18th of March, Arsenal 4, Coventry United 0. What a game this was. Coventry United should be proud of themselves because they held out for about 40 minutes just trying to make sure that Arsenal couldn't score, and then the untelling story of quality proved the difference. So, Arsenal scoring 4 goals, Blackstenius with a goal in the 13th minute, Beth Mead in the 59th, Nikita Paris in the 63rd, and Miedemar on the 77th minute. So, lots of goals being put there, and Arsenal are through to the semi-finals. And we move on to the next game, which was Man City 4, Everton 0. And you know this is a big one as well because Man City and Everton played each other, which we'll get into, played each other in the league not so long after that. So when we get into it, I'm definitely going to be talking about it. But Man City 4, Everton 0. This game coming in the FA Cup. Hemp with the goal in the 35th minute, with a second in the 48th after half-time. Weir with the goal in the 61st, and then White with the final goal in the 92nd minute. When you look at this is a tough result for Everton because they probably had a chance of taking out the winners of the 2019 FA Cup, taking them down and giving them a run for their money. But it wasn't to be on the day, and Man City 4, Everton 0 was the final result. We move on. Ipswich Town 0, West Ham United 1. What a time to score. Lisa Evans with a goal in the 32nd minute. She's currently on loan from Arsenal, and she gets her goal in the 32nd minute, which for Ipswich Town is a fantastic result. And the reason why it's a fantastic result is because they are up against a WSL team who just so happen to be playing at that level. Well done to West Ham United, and I will run through who's going to be playing in the next round as well after this. And we go to our final result, Chelsea 5. That's right, Chelsea 5, Birmingham City 0. All the goals literally coming towards the end of one at the end of the first half, and then the rest coming in the second half. And it was just a run of 20-minute goals where Birmingham City could not live with Chelsea, unfortunately. Ericsson with the goal in the 45th minute, and what a time just to get the goal. It would have boosted Birmingham City's hopes that if they could get to half-time without conceding, you never know what could have happened in the second half. Drew Spence with the next goal in the 55th minute. Beth England in the 62nd. Niamh Charles with another goal in the 65th. And then Beth England with a second in the 72nd minute. So essentially, a very short period of time where it was dominating football from the current FA Cup holders. The next games that will be happening, and these are the ones that everybody's looking forward to for sure. And the reason why they're looking forward to it is because it's the semi-final, and it is a repeat of two finals in previous years, in very short previous years. Arsenal will take on Chelsea on Sunday the 17th of April. That's going to be a game that we will see if Arsenal can overturn Chelsea for a second time this season, especially when there has been a win for both sides and a draw between both sides. West Ham United against Manchester City. This was the game of 2019 at the final. On this day, on the day of the final, West Ham wanted to get a whole bunch of fans to the stadium, and they specifically asked the Premier League if they could move the game against Southampton forward, and they said no. So how are you meant to build the reputation for women's football if you're not complying with the game that could have helped the game move forward just that little bit quicker in a World Cup year? So West Ham United against Manchester City will be the game on Saturday the 16th of April. What a game that's going to be. And we have rounded up the FA Cup games, and we are moving on into the next round of fixtures in the WSL. So, as we do this, we're looking into all the results that really came from the midweek all the way up to this weekend, and we go with Wednesday, the 23rd of March. Manchester City 4, Everton 0. Crushing, because that's 8 goals and none conceded for Everton in this. 8 goals against the same team and none conceded. Tough to take. But as I've mentioned before, Manchester City are back, and they're going to be the team to look out for, especially going into the run-in with the WSL title. Both Manchester City have played both Arsenal and Chelsea already. However, they can still have a stranglehold on to third if they want to for that final place in the Champions League. McGill getting her goal in the 25th, which was an own goal. Then White with a goal in the 32nd minute. And then for a long period of time, it was 2-0 until the 84th and 85th minute, where Greenwood and Coombs scored their goals for Man City. What a time to get those results, as it really bumps up where both teams need to get to going forward. We move on. Next result in this calendar week. And the game was postponed due to COVID outbreak. Chelsea against Spurs was postponed. So with Chelsea only being able to play against Leicester City this week, Spurs had 2 games, and I'm just going to run through that. They had 2 London derbies cancelled this week with a COVID outbreak. It was due to happen. Unfortunately, I wanted to go to one of the games, but I couldn't due to this COVID outbreak. But hopefully the game will be replayed very soon, and it will be a title decider, I believe. So we move on and we go to Aston Villa 1, Reading 1. Big game here. And the reason why it's a big game is for 2 reasons. 2 massive reasons. One, it now sees where Aston Villa can get to and possibly try and emulate, rather than being in the bottom half of the table, they can start to think, you know what, we may be able to push on here. And also, it means that Reading can halt their slide of poor results, essentially, which might give them a chance to elevate themselves into the top half again. And we move into that because the next, with that result, it started with a penalty with Van Hervermeek in the 69th minute before Petzelsberger scored in the 76th to equalise. So both teams shared the points. Aston Villa have run their course as they have. They've had a really difficult time at home, with more of their points being on the road, which is interesting for a team that should be looking at home advantage rather than away wins. But it is what it is. It is what it is. We move on to Sunday, the 27th of March. And this game was around Manchester United versus Everton. And this result was comprehensive, as they call it, but it wasn't so straightforward, as they say. It wasn't so straightforward. So Emsley getting the start of the goals for Everton against Manchester United here. And it was a goal in the 4th minute, as early as the 4th minute. Alessia Russo getting the goal in the 35th minute. Zelen with a goal, with a penalty, which probably downed the hopes of Everton after that, before Russo got her second in the 84th, which meant the points stay in Manchester. What a time just to get those results. However, it's probably the worst time just to concede goals, and hopefully Everton can get themselves back on track and possibly stave off for all of this relegation talk for next season. This season it'll probably be okay, but next season it'll be an interesting topic. Manchester City against Birmingham City. Ironically, COVID outbreak in the Birmingham City camp, which means, and I don't want to say ironically, it probably has happened, and I apologise for any inconvenience caused, but a COVID outbreak has happened, not just in Tottenham's, but also in Birmingham City's camps, and it means that they are not able to play this week. Well, they weren't able to play this weekend. So, because of the COVID outbreak, it was a postponed match. Leicester City 0. I'm not going to read this one just yet. I'm going to read the next one. West Ham United 0, Brighton Hove Albion 2. Now, the reason why I've moved from Leicester City to and Chelsea to West Ham and Brighton is because there's a significance in that result. But we're going to come back to it in a minute. West Ham United 0, Brighton and Hove Albion 2. With this result, Brighton now move a little bit more closer to the top half of the table, or just keep themselves a bit more closer to the top half of the table, behind Manchester United and Spurs, looking for those results as best as possible. Whelan in the 3rd minute, giving Brighton an early goal, and it took a long time for West Ham to really break down Brighton, but eventually Cogman got a goal in the 81st minute just to seal off that result. Well done to Brighton and Hove Albion, picking up the wins again, wherever possible, wherever needed. What a time just to get it. Now, we talk about the big result here, the big result. And that result is Leicester City 0, Chelsea 9. Chelsea 9. Big result this. Big result. For 2 reasons. Chelsea no longer are second in the table. They are now a point above Arsenal. They have also got a goal difference in their hands, which means that Arsenal would have to score a total of 6 goals against their next opponents in order to stave off the challenge of Chelsea to the WSL title. First goal was scored by Guru Wrighton in the 3rd minute. Sam Kerr scoring 2 minutes later. And then in the 7th minute, Beth England getting her goal before Noen scored in the 11th minute. All 4 goals coming in the first 12 minutes of the game, which has become a possible record, I believe. Beth England then scoring in the 28th minute before having to be taken off. And then Sam Kerr continued the scoring in the second half with her second in the 47th minute. Wrighton with her second in the 50th. And then there weren't too many goals between the 50th and the 87th minute before Lauren James got a first for the club. And then Fleming with another in the 90th minute to round off the scoring. Tough for Leicester, but it probably has no significance to the WSL relegation zone. And the reason for that is because they are so far ahead of Birmingham City. It's unbelievable. If Birmingham City can get some points back, then that might have a bit more significance. But at the moment, it's not looking likely. Hopefully they can. And I'm going to stay positive that they will. We are moving on. And we're going to look into the Women's Championship. Not just from this week, but also from last week. Because there were games last week as well. As you know, the women's game never stops. And yes, there will be an international break coming up, but there will still be games. So you will still get a chance to watch some games. Have a chance of having a look. We move into it and we start with on the 20th of March. Sorry, I keep saying November in my head. The first game, or the first 2 games being Lewes 0, Durham FC 0, Liverpool 0, Charlton Athletic 0. What a time just to get those results. And we move into the next one. Sheffield United 1, Sunderland 4. Sunderland 4. So, scoring started with, ironically, Sheffield United. Bradley Auckland with the goal in the 22nd minute. 2 minutes later, Scar scores a first of 2 in the 24th minute. And then she gets another goal 6 minutes before half-time. Faruja then gets a goal in the 54th minute before Kelly rounds off the scoring in the 86th minute. What a time to get those results, because this really will see where Sunderland and Sheffield United will end up in the table. And that is a guaranteed cert. So, moving on to the next results. And we're also looking at Watford 1, London City Lionesses 0 as of the 20th of March. What a time to get this goal, and at Vicarage Road as well. Big game for Watford, managing to get the result that they possibly needed to stave off relegation against Coventry United. Remember, Coventry United have a big overhaul of points to pick up, and they need to be basically winning every game in order to do so, in order to stay away from relegations. Miola with the goal in the 60th minute to give Watford a win that they so needed. So needed. And we move on. Our next results coming through will be from the 26th and 27th of March. So basically this weekend just gone. So as we were talking, the goals coming from Liverpool 3, Durham 0 was Sunday the 27th of March. But I'm going to go back to the 26th of Sheffield United versus Bristol City. Was a game on the Saturday. And this game was very close. I got a chance to watch some of it. Wilson with the goal in the 32nd minute. Bristol City really hammering on the door just to try and get those goals, but wasn't able to find a way through. Had chances. Goalkeeper was on superb form on the day. And that's what really told the game, where Sheffield United took their chance and scored. Bristol City was unable to convert. Sheffield United won Bristol City 0. Liverpool 3, Durham FC 0. With this game, Liverpool extend their lead at the top, and they don't need too many points left just to try and say that they've got the win and they return to the WSL. But it means that with most of the games played, you can pretty much say that Liverpool are safe and going top. Who will join them? We don't know. I think it's only one team that's going up this season, I believe. It could be two. I might be wrong. But Liverpool 3, Durham FC 0. And that result, Furness with the goal in the 9th minute, Stengel with a goal in the 45th, and then Furness with a second in the 70th minute. Hopefully they can keep those players fit for the rest of the season, and hopefully they can get those wins where possible. We move on. And just to point out, London City Lionesses and Lewis FC Women also had their game postponed. Not sure if it was a COVID outbreak. That wasn't mentioned, but hopefully that game is replayed real soon. We move on. Sunderland 2, Watford 1. This game I watched. Sunderland fully deserving of their win. They did have a lot more chances than Watford in the game. They really did put the chances through. Wasn't able to get the goals in the first half when they really should have. But hopefully this will show where they're going in terms of the two results that they've had. Sheffield United first and then Watford again, the second result. Hopefully they'll find their feet and they'll find their form going into the next round of games. And hopefully they'll get the results that they deserve and they need. We move it on. To say who scored would be an understatement. I've done it all this time. So Watson in the 66th minute, Heron with a goal in the 68th, and Giorgio scoring in the 90th minute. Leg scoring in the 93rd minute. Sorry. Giorgio got a yellow card, so apologies for that. Leg scoring in the 93rd minute with a header. And two headers from the game, and it was basically two. When you look at the game, there were chances where the teams could have put themselves maybe 3-0 up, maybe even 1-1 at the time. But the chances were very sporadic, and it did come down to a header from Heron and a chance from Watson to basically bag a goal when it needed to be done. Leg's goal was a header where the ball bobbled, and she was in the right place at the right time for just to head the ball into the back of the net. And it could have been a grandstand finish, but again, Sunderland were in the right places to stop Watford getting onto the counter-attack and even getting a chance on goal. For a lot of the time, you could see that there is a difference within how Watford play, but they do need the results. So performances and points need to match very quickly. Coventry United 1, Blackburn Rovers 0. As I said, Coventry United are trying to get those results and trying to make sure that they make it a grandstand finish towards the end of the season. Morris with a goal in the 66th minute to give Coventry United a win over Blackburn Rovers ladies. What a time just to get that result. And you know why? Because if Watford are losing, your nearest rivals are losing, then it's going to be an easier catch to try and catch them up. However, there's a lot of results that still need to go Coventry United's way in order to make sure that this is a grandstand finish towards the end of the season. We move on to the last result. As I said, London City Lionesses and Lewis was postponed. Charlton Athletic 0, Crystal Palace 1. What a result for a South East London derby. Goal coming in the 23rd minute. Haynes with a goal in the 23rd minute. And you're thinking Crystal Palace have now got this nailed on. For next season, if I'm looking at Charlton and I'm looking at Crystal Palace, one of the two teams really need to dominate in order to know that they're going forward and into the WSL. They have to dominate. It has to happen. So hopefully you'll see that going forward. And those are the results. Now, here's something I don't normally do, and I'm going to do it today, just for this time. I'm not going to do it. I'm not going to do it too many times in the future, but just for today, we're going to look at the Wsl and Championship Tables. So, big results that happened, which means that you get to understand who is next to go. All right. So, in the WSL table, Chelsea are on 41 points, Arsenal on 40, with Manchester United on 35, having played a game more than both of the teams above. Manchester City 3 points behind Manchester United, having played a game less. Tottenham Hotspur now 2 games in hand, now need to find 2 wins to probably stop themselves from finishing 5th. But their 2 games in hand is against Chelsea and Arsenal. Brighton and Hove Albion on 25 points in 6th. West Ham United in 7th on 24. Reading on 24, but a goal difference of -9. Everton on 17 points, having played 18. Aston Villa on 17 points. Both have a -20 goal difference, but Everton have scored more. Leicester City on 12 points and Birmingham City on 4 points. That is the WSL table. And we go to the next table, which is the Championship. Liverpool on 46 points. Bristol City on 35, having played a game less. However, is it going to make a difference? Not sure. Durham on 30 points. Crystal Palace on 30. But with a minus goal difference of 6 with Crystal Palace, they are in 4th. Sheffield United on 29. London City Lionesses on 29, having played a game less. Charlton Athletic on 28. Lewis FC Women on 26, having played a game less than Charlton. Sunderland on 22. Blackburn Rovers Ladies on 17. Watford on 10. And Coventry United now on 4. So you never know. Coventry United could make it a grandstand finish with the games still to play, for sure. I'm going to just move into the National League. And the reason why I'm going to move into the National League is because it could mean that we'll see 2 teams coming up from here. Wolverhampton Wanderers on 48 points and Derby County on 42 from the Northern Division. From the Southern Division, Ipswich Town on 54 and Southampton on 47. However, Southampton have 3 games in hand on Ipswich Town. What a game that would be if they can get the results. So, now we know where everybody's played. Let's see what happens in the future. With only just mere single number games left. Let's see what happens over the rest of the season. Who's going to be finishing top? Who's going to be relegated? Yours truly is signing off. Thank you for listening in. Peace out. Join the Pitch Talk revolution.
Check out the official Pitch Talk website.
www.pitch-talk.com. Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, children of all ages, welcome to Pitch Talk.
We are fans of football dropping vlogs, videos and podcasts on the beautiful game.
Check out our videos on YouTube and Instagram's IGTV,
including special feature segments,
5 minutes with the G,
the straight shooting view,
coaching with JBK. We produce, record and edit video content
and audio on Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts,
Verbal, Podomatic,
Anchor,
Spotify
and other podcast platforms.
Join the Pitch Talk revolution on Twitter, Instagram,
Facebook
and www.pitch-talk.com.
The pitch is where we eat.
The pitch is where we sleep.
And the pitch is where we talk.
I can see you now.